Hey everyone, it is Sunday and we're here for our weekly live with Oust Now podcast. Are you guys ready for today's topic? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Um, I'm ready. I really am. Um,
Okay.
I do have a request though.
Mm.
For anybody who has joined, we're trying to give it a couple minutes, but to anybody that has joined, please drop in the chat what is a song,
Mm.
right? What is a song, or what is your favorite song from the legendary Angie Stone? I know what one of mine is, but it is what it is.
Is it I
Maybe some.
wish?
Yeah, it is. What is the name of it? What was it? I wish I. What is it? I wish. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me make sure that I make sure that's the right song. Cause uh,
Mm, 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 mm,
you gonna sing it?
No, it might scare people
Oh,
away.
that's what you're gonna do it, right?
They'd be like, bye. They don't want to come here for that. I was just where I could write
Yes,
down
it's "Wish
notes.
I Didn't Miss You." That's it.
Mhm.
"Wish I Didn't Miss You." That would be it. Yep. That is one of my that one and No More Rain.
I didn't realize how many songs well,
Yeah,
I haven't always listened to Angie Stone, and I'm like, wait, I do know her music.
right.
Um, but I recently heard we were researching this, and I heard "Good Man." I was like, oh, that's a really good song. So I started
Mhm.
listening to it, and I was like, all right, where have I been? Under a rock as usual. I'd be living under these rocks. Thank you, everyone who's joining. Please give us a few more minutes. We do want to give some people some time to join since we just went live. And remember, we are live on 3 places. So TikTok, YouTube, and then Facebook. So thank you, everyone who's joining us. And if
Tell
you're
us, tell us where you're. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Tell us where you're joining from, and tell us one song of Angie Stone that sticks out to you in the
yes,
comments. We would
please
love
drop it in the
to see it.
comments. All right. I am trying to pay attention to the comments from here. I wonder if there's a
Mhm,
way. Okay. It sometimes I know there's a bit of a delay from when somebody drops a comment to when we're seeing it here.
mhm.
But thank you, everyone who's with us on TikTok. I think we got a couple of people in. Thank you very much. Please stick around. All right. We are waiting for a couple more people to join before we get started. And as you can see from the topic there, we are talking about the legendary Angie Stone, the conspiracy.
Yes, 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 yes. This is gonna be a good one, right? I think I
Mm.
was a little scared to kind of touch it, right? But I think if we could do embarrassing moments,
Hmm. We're laughing. It might be hysterical laughter.
I'm fearless at this point. I feel like I can't embarrass myself any more than that. So and then I can't wait for everyone to hear the one that we recorded today.
Yes,
I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. So
absolutely.
that one's gonna be another good
Um,
one.
it is. We had made a promise to kind of lighten it up a little bit, and sometimes even though we aim for one thing, it can kind of go down that rabbit hole that we sometimes go
Mhm.
because there's so much going on. We are moving as much as we have topics that we know are important to our community. We also know that it's important to have some fun,
It is. It is.
fun in a
I
cup.
agree, girl. Or in a glass, whatever works. You
Since I have
know.
no fun, nice glasses or appropriate glasses.
It doesn't matter. It's appropriate. Is it in the glass?
It's in a cup.
Is it in the cup? Can you drink it? You can turn up? Then it's appropriate. Oop, there it is.
It's going down.
There it is. That's the end of that.
Thank you for joining. All right, let me see.
Thank you for everybody that's joined. As you can see, we are discussing the legendary Angie Stone and some things that we have heard,
Mhm.
rumors, conspiracy theories behind her death. If you have joined us, please drop in the chat where you're joining us from. We would love that to hear from you. And also, any song of Angie Stone that sticks out to you that might be your favorite, your go-to, drop that in the comments as well.
Yes, please. Now, before you, if you're just joining us, you would have seen that Janine has her favorite, and I mentioned a song that I recently heard that I was like, it's a good song. Where have I been? Do you want to share that one more time?
Yes. So my top thus far,
Mhm.
right? Because sometimes when you haven't heard an artist for a while, you kind of forget, right? You're like, oh damn, I forgot about that one, right? Like, dang, I
Mhm.
forgot she did that. But thus far, it would be I Wish I Didn't Miss You,
Mhm.
right? I love that one. And also No More Rain. Those
Mm.
songs
Mm.
stick out in my head. Those are my top. Thus, you know, that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that one. I love this one. I actually have one of them. I'm not even gonna lie. I actually had it on repeat.
Of course.
Um, did you did you guess? How did you guess the I Wish I Didn't Miss You? Was it because my recent
No, it's
situation,
because
or was it just because it's a
it's a
really
good
good
song. Like
one?
like even if you don't listen to Angie
Yeah,
Stone,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
will
yeah, yeah.
know that song. But it's
Yeah,
because it's a
that song. Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah,
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 it's a good
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And funny because that's the song that was running through my
Mhm,
head when I was like we were looking. I was like, okay, we're gonna do it, and I was like, it was like
mhm. Yes, yes.
that's the one that comes to mind. But I didn't
Yeah.
realize. I don't know. Let's just do it. I didn't realize that that woman was 62 years old,
And
looked
look good,
good,
right?
and was
Like, girl,
on
you
tour.
how old? And still, girl, and still doing concerts, right? Like, girl, you is doing it. Like, I hope to be. Shoot, I be thinking, not, I just said it. I said it before we went live. I was thinking to myself, shoot, I'm in my 40s, and girl, I'd be mad if you actually do something on a goddamn Saturday. I'm like, you want me to do what? You want me to leave my
Relax.
house? Uh, no, I'm not interested in
Yeah.
that. And this lady is in her 60s doing full blown
Mhm.
tours. I'm like, girl,
Go ahead.
you the
And
you
she was
go.
just coming out of a
Mm,
really big health scare, which is, we'll talk about that.
mhm,
But
mhm, mhm,
all right, I say we just go for it. But yes, we are going to talk about the legendary Angie Stone, who recently passed away.
mhm,
And, what a great loss to the
mhm,
music industry and her talent and her voice, like up
mhm.
there with like
Yes,
Aretha. And I mean, she had a voice. And unfortunately,
she did.
she's no longer with us due to a very unfortunate event. And,
Mhm,
like with many popular or really great talents, there's always, once they pass away, there comes the conspiracy. It happened with Michael, Prince.
yeah.
Girl.
Not to go off the topic, but I think I shared with you the situation with MJ,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, my ex at the time had already said that he like as soon as we heard about it, did I ever tell you about that? He was automatically into the conspiracy theory. It was like, oh my God, they'll kill Jekyll. Damn, killed the Jacko.
Mm,
First of all, I had never even heard that in my entire life. I was like, who in the hell is
that's what he was
that?
calling you?
Who are we talking about?
What?
Yeah, so he was called. I was like, I never heard of that in my life. I was like, the Jacko. Who we
Mm,
talking? But anyway, yeah. So a lot of times you know, that
mhm,
does happen. But I think what may be different about this case
mhm.
specifically, this event specifically, is that she was already on social media
Yeah.
discussing how she was feeling under attack, and she was saying she felt like she was in a spiritual attack on her life.
Yeah.
And she was already talking about it. And I think that's what makes this one different from a lot of the other conspiracy theories that I've heard from other people that have
Yeah.
left us unexpectedly like
Absolutely.
this,
And like she
right?
went on that TikTok live. It was in December. Time is like it's like in
Mhm.
fast mode, but then in slow mode at the same time, which is kind of weird. But she did that
Right.
live in December of 2024 where she was talking about, major financial losses due to her record label, which is you allegedly, allegedly.
Alleged. Thank you, girl. Because we don't need no problems. We small time
Listen,
over here. We gonna be big time. Trust and believe.
we don't
So
have we don't
get
have that
ready.
kind of money, all right?
But we ain't got no
Right
lawsuit money. We
there.
ain't got it. So everything is allegedly.
Hmm.
Okay?
Hmm.
All right.
There it is.
Mm,
But the one thing that really struck out the most to me, because she mentioned like, and when she went live, she said that she had hired a dream team of attorneys, and I said to myself, most attorneys would advise you before a lawsuit happens to not
not
come
to go
public with
live.
it. So that kind of
Mm,
it struck me as odd and kind of surprising, you
mm,
know? Yeah.
mm,
It's like with
mm,
that lawsuit that's happening right now with the allegedly the actors from that movie It Ends With Us. There's a really big
mm,
lawsuit on both parts, lawsuits, countersuits, and no one knew about it
mm,
until
mm.
those lawsuits hit. Like we knew there was something
Right.
happening, but once those
Mm-hmm.
court documents got filed, then it was public knowledge because it's public record, but no one said anything beforehand. So it'd be interesting to see
Right.
like what did her attorneys or how did they advise her to what to say or not to say.
I wonder if her family is now going to um run with that. Like pick that up and kind of run with it on her behalf. I know that's probably the last thing that they're thinking about at this point, losing
Well,
a family
some
member.
people
But
there's the few. Not
it's
saying there's always
that
that one.
that think
There's
about that
always that one
finance.
who's always more worried about the money than they are about.
Let's see how many. Let me see what how many royalties she said she was suing for. This
Hmm.
is true. Um, because we've definitely seen how things can get
Yeah.
around death.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, things can get really
Weird.
right. They can get really woo,
Yes.
like like wow, I didn't see that coming. Oh,
Very
okay.
true.
Um, okay, but yeah. So what do you think about some of the theories that people are taking from her posts? Her
Well, there was
I don't want
that
to
psychic.
say
I mean, here's the thing.
uh,
Listen, I've seen
okay, I'm
psychics
listening.
get it wrong all the time. And there was a psychic who was
Okay.
claiming, let me find the article so that way I can at least let me see if I can find it quickly. Okay.
I so have to wipe my nose, and I don't want to do it on this camera, girl. It's driving me bananas. But I'm just gonna have to wipe it. Listen. I have a cold. I'm coming over. I've had it for a minute. I am better, but as you can hear in my voice and with me sniffling, so y'all look past it, okay?
See your
Okay,
thing.
thank you. I appreciate it. All right, clear. God dang. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
girl, I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm so sorry, girl. Okay,
No, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
So, like, I think it's interesting. I mean, with the internet psychics, I just kind of think that a lot of times it's a lot of hooey because I've seen a bunch of them just get it wrong. And I don't take much. I'm not saying that people can't feel a certain way or have a good gut feeling about it, but 9 times out of 10, they don't get it right. Like it would have to take like some real trust in one person to really, really know them to feel like they're like, okay, maybe they legitimately know what they're talking about. But then for some people, like this psychic here, let me see if I can get. Now I'm not trying to pick a beef with you. Oh, it doesn't name who the psychic is. It's just like I think it's kind of messed up to start going down the conspiracy rabbit hole when the woman just passed away. Talking about it's all it's disrespectful.
I
It's
agree.
disrespectful to her
I agree.
family. Like, do you think that this
Yes.
is what they want to hear? Internet rumors about what your theory is? Like, that's
Mm.
is. I think it's messed up.
Oh, yeah, that's so profound. When I first thought about when I first thought about it, yeah, I feel kind of bad because I didn't think
Mhm.
about that part of it. I just thought to myself, I was like, wow, I guess after a lot of things that she said and some other people were saying, it does make sense, right? But you're right. It's probably the last thing the family
Yeah.
wants to hear. Like they don't want to hear about that. They like we want to, and it's probably hard for them because they have no level of, I mean, they have a level of
Hmm.
privacy, but not like you or I would have if we lost someone that we really love. Like it would be a different level of privacy. I feel like they might not have everything that they need because it's so in the public
Yeah.
eye. Does that
And
make
not saying,
right?
she went on her own live of her own accord or late last year that kind of spoke to
Right,
some of what she was alleging when it came
right.
um, from her record label. And, that I'm not saying that she's wrong, right? I'm not saying anything in one way or the other, but I do wonder, like, when you're in the music industry, there's a lot of times where, and we've heard this before with like TLC, and they've spoken about it openly. Like, there's a lot of stuff written into these contracts that not we, that people choose to ignore or not read or not understand, and they just sign on the dotted line. And no, they just signed on the dotted line without
Mhm.
really understanding what it means. So that kind of led me to the question of
Mhm.
like, well, what was in your contract? And I did like
Yeah.
I did do some
Had.
research. I was trying to see if I could find anything, if there was any legal documents filed. Couldn't find anything. Those are typically might be a little bit harder to find because if it's a federal case, but this is a civil suit, so it'd be a local case. And you have to figure out well where, in what
Mhm.
state, and all this other stuff. So it's too. I didn't have time to kind of look into all these states and like, okay, which state could potentially have been filed. But that's a big thing with anything. Anytime you got to sign a contract, like you've got to read it. Because while I don't know, again, I don't know her situation. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but what was written into your contract that could potentially lead to that kind of loss in revenue? Because when you're an entertainer, it costs money, and the record label is gonna pay it, but they're gonna try to recoup it, right? So how do they recoup it?
By whatever it is they right. Um, I, and I could absolutely be wrong, and I'm just going off of how I felt about what she said out of her mouth, not conspiracy. After I kind of sat with it, because I sit with
Mhm.
something, right? I felt like it could be a very strong possibility that she was taken advantage of. Whether Okay, so let's see if I can Google it real quick. Let's see how old she was when she first kind of. We don't know how old she was when she did the actual initial contract, right? That we won't know, because sometimes people be signed really young, but we don't hear their music until way later. I think about a similar situation that I had shared with you, right? We were young. We were like in
Mhm.
high school, right? I look back on that now and I was like, yo, I listened to that bull. Beside the point. Everything happens for a reason. But let's see. I'm just gonna try to see if I can Google it. Oh, when
Thank you, everyone who's joining us. If you are on TikTok or if you are with us on YouTube or on Facebook, we appreciate all of our followers who take the time on a Sunday, because we know tomorrow's Monday,
mm,
and usually we get the Monday blues on Sunday. So thank you for taking some time to spend it with us as you mentally prepare for first day back at work.
so maybe, girl, she was just looking really good. So
Mhm.
right? So according to this, it says that her first album, Black Diamond, was released in
Yes.
1999,
Hmm.
right? So that would have made her how old when it
Mm,
released? Girl, I'm
I
not
don't
good with
know, but I
math.
think she's
Hold
been in
on.
business for about 26 years at least, releasing music, right?
Okay. Um, uh, correct. But who knows how long it was before she signed? How long before, like I said, she released music did she sign?
Yeah.
Because sometimes there is
Yeah.
a gap, right? Because you sign the contract, you make agreements, you agree to however many songs or albums or whatever it is, right? And then they're released. But usually they already have them way before they're
Yeah.
ever released. Um, so, and it could be a situation where she was
Hmm.
excited, or just, hey, I have a contract. Hey, I'm going to be signed, which we have heard in the past have happened with some other artists, right? Where they're just like, okay, I'm signed for a record label, and they think they're getting all of this money, but they're
Hmm.
really not, because it's the label that's taking, just,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, because they have to be paid for whatever it is they say
Yeah, I
they need
mean,
to be paid
I don't
for.
know what it costs to have to, because you
What you
got to pay
said,
people. Well, if you write your own music, great. That's one less thing. But you're not always going to write your own music, so you have to hire the producers and
right,
people to write the tracks to go with the
right,
songs. You gotta do
right,
hair, wigs. You have to do, like, there's all these things for concerts. You gotta hire people. You got your team, but like there's all these
travel,
travel. There's all these things that go
yeah,
into it. So I would imagine if any smart business person would be like, if I'm going to shell out X amount of money, and I'm assuming some sort of advance, I don't know. If I'm going to shell out X amount of money to fund this operation, we're going to get it back. And in fact, when I used to watch that reality TV show on MTV, whatever, VH1, they talked about that. Like the guy was like, "Yo, this costs money. I'm
mhm,
putting money into you. You best believe I'm going to get it back." And it was LL hip hop, whatever. The show that I stopped watching.
child,
Um,
okay,
but they talk about that, and it does make
uh-huh.
sense. But sometimes I know, like with, sometimes we could be too green, might be overly excited about the prospect of, getting our music or whatever content out there that we don't read between the lines. So then
Right.
what? Is it the label's fault? I'm not saying this is the case, but is it the label's fault? Because the label's going to try to make money, or at least recoup, break
Right.
even, and that's just business.
Now, nobody's in business to break even, but they're definitely in business to try
Right.
to make money.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and again, we're not saying that's the case with her, but I do think it's unfair that everyone's just rushing to the conspiracy theory. Like this is why, because she was going to cause a lawsuit. I mean, there's plenty of people who sue record
Mhm.
labels. She won't be the first one. She wouldn't be the last one. So
Right.
was
Right.
she as big of an artist as Michael or Prince? No. Why would they have it in for her? Why?
I think I don't know. I feel like again, I think that is the one thing that is different
Mhm.
about her story is that exactly what you said. There's a lot of, well, not a lot. We have heard in the past, allegedly, of artists that have sued, or whatever, and they don't wind up
Mhm.
deceased. But then a lot of times, also one point that you had brought up earlier is that I'm pretty sure they're advised not to talk about it in the public eye either.
Yeah.
So that's a little different.
Yeah, but like if
Yes,
you, because here's the
yes,
thing,
right.
if you tell them, "Hey, we coming for you," that gives them every opportunity to hide whatever it is you think that they are
Mhm,
trying to hide.
mhm.
So I don't know. Maybe she went against the advice of her attorneys. I don't know. Maybe they were just first talking about it. But yes, she did go public with it. But if she said she hired this dream team, that's the first thing they're gonna say. Here's your contract. Don't talk about it in the press.
She might, she might have gotten permission. She might have. I cannot see. Well, I can't say that because I was in a situation where someone did not listen to their attorney's
Mhm.
advice, right? But me personally, I'm going to listen to my attorney's advice. And if my attorney is like, hey, it's okay as long as you don't say XYZ, then that's what I'm going to run with. So for all we know, her attorney could have said, hey, it's okay, but make sure you don't disclose this,
Mhm.
that, right? And we've seen that even with other stuff that we see in the news media, or even not trying to take off topic, but like when sheriff department post certain things, they'll be like, oh, we can't discuss this because the investigation is still ongoing, yada
Mhm.
yada 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 yada, but they still are allowed to release certain
Mm, yeah.
parts. And so that might be a similar thing here, like, okay, you can say this, but make sure you don't touch on that because we don't want them to have a
Mhm.
heads up about this right here. So we're gonna leave that out of it, but we're gonna let them know we coming for them because we coming for them, but you can only say
Yeah, and
this.
it is business, right? It's not like it's a criminal investigation. I mean, it could be considered criminal, but
That's true.
it's not like
Nah,
it's. How do I say this?
yeah.
You know what I'm. You know what I'm trying to say?
Details have to
Like
be mhm,
it's a different kind of
because
legal. It's just different. It's not like they.
it is
Yeah.
have to keep
Well, I think
investigating,
they
right?
will. They'll still have to
Is that
hire
what you
like
mean?
I think a forensic accountant to kind of to go through the books and like, well, this is what money came in for
Girl,
this. It went out towards this. The contract said this. So I can't even imagine how much work that is.
girl,
Thank God I
girl.
never went into law
Yo, that
or accounting.
listen, that forensic, I love law, but that forensic analyst that has to add up all the
Mhm.
dollars. Girl, did you see how I was looking when I was just trying to find out how old she
I
was
know.
when
I was
she,
like, where's my calculator?
I can't. That damn job, not for me. Um, I feel my heart goes out to her family and her friends. You know, sometimes when someone that's in the public eye passes away, all of a sudden everybody is like,
Yeah.
you know, a little, and I'm like,
They start with this. Oh,
yeah,
let her family
right,
breathe.
right, right, right,
And I know here we are, we're here talking
right.
about it. So you might look at us feeling like the same way, but we're kind of coming at it from the, why is it that these conspiracy theories automatically start? And yes, there's different things about this because of her life before, um, where
Mhm,
she semi went public about it. Um,
mhm.
but she was in that car with nine. It was nine people. So there's about eight other people that have to kind of reconcile what just happened because it was bad enough.
Yeah, right.
Um, which is it's kind of sad.
Mm.
It's sad. Not even kind of sad.
It is.
Excuse
It's
me.
sad. It is. It's very sad. Yeah, I think, and I could again, I could definitely be speculating when I say what I'm about to say, but I feel like maybe if she had not, I wonder if she had not did that post, would everybody have jumped on it as fast? But then I think to myself, yes, because I think about when what you call it got really sick and the rumors started
Hmm.
flying. Jamie Foxx,
Oh
when he got sick and he wound up in the
yeah.
hospital and all the goddamn rumors started flying, right? And he didn't say anything in the public eye about um
Not
anything
a
going on with
peep.
him. And the rumors just like, so I wonder what is it, where that comes from, why people would do that. Like, why are we automatically taking it and running? Why are we doing this?
There are
Right?
there are people that there's companies that
Hmm.
hire content creators or
Hmm.
to create smear campaigns. I'm not saying this is the
You
case.
told me about that.
However,
You told me.
with Jamie
You told me.
Foxx, there was the I don't know if it was a smear campaign. They were like, he got a body double now, and it was Diddy got him and all this stuff because he was
Mm,
about to come forward. He was an informant. I'm like, who says
mm,
this stuff?
yeah,
I mean, I get creative writing, but however, those
that's a bit creative. That's a whole
it's
lot
like
too
someone
creative,
just
ain't
dreamt
it?
that shit up. Oh, I got a great story. Let's just say this. It's kind of like, and who was the other thing? Like with the ends with us kind of conspiracy. The rumor is, or allegedly, someone did hire a PR company and who hired content creators to create this buzz in on all the social media platforms about how one of the actors was like a really mean girl. And that's why the movie and the press was so bad because they couldn't get along because they were portraying her as a mean girl. However, the guy in question,
Wow.
and I'm not using their names because again, it's all
Hmm.
alleged, and I think most of you should know. But then the guy, he really had some really inappropriate actions around her on set. So to have to accuse someone of
Mm,
SA, no, not A, SH, to accuse someone of SH, that's a really big thing. You don't pull that
hmm.
up out of your behind and say someone, most people, most women won't do that. So just using that as the example. But that guy allegedly hired a whole PR team that created this smear campaign that made her look like an a-hole. She never really gave me a-hole vibes, but I'm like, I mean, I don't know. But that's what they did to
Mm,
her. So is it
right.
possible that maybe the group could be have hired some people to kind of and content creators? That's what they said happened with the Mael Organics. Allegedly. Allegedly. That's
Hmm.
what they said. Like she that when they got bought out by a bigger company or I forget all of the details, but they like social the competition hired people to make her brand look bad and saying that they changed the ingredients or they're sourcing the ingredients differently. That's why people's hair is falling out. Like it, like they hired
Mm,
someone to do it, and the owner went public with it.
that's
Like,
sad.
girl, who does that? Um, but like, would it surprise me to hear that maybe there is a social media campaign to kind of divert from her potential or lawsuit? Sure, anything is possible from the family
Yeah, but that's
to
true. Oh, you
discourage
talking about for
them
the family?
from pursuing anything further now that she's not here.
Okay. I that's a very valid point, but considering that this situation that occurred, wouldn't it actually kind of um do the opposite? Like, if anything, maybe the family is feeling more encouraged to maybe pursue a lawsuit because she went, she went live, she discussed it, and now she went live and discussed it, and now she's,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean it's possible, but like, how do
deceased.
you if you're not the famous person and you're just her family? How do you compete? Not just her family, because
Mhm,
your family, like her family, was important and valuable. But I mean, who would be more?
mhm.
Who would have more weight? And could it discourage someone? Oh, I'm not going to fight for this, so they can do what to me? Because think about it. If they feel if the
Oh,
allegation is it's because of this, well, why would I pursue this if like all money's not good money and I don't need it. Trust me.
amen.
I'll work for that
Right? I know
shit.
that's right.
Mm-mm.
Right.
So like when it comes
Mhm.
to that, like would it discourage your family members from pursuing it if there's this theory that this happened because
I think that's a valid point. That's a very valid point. The
yeah,
fear tactic,
it's possible.
right?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, I can
that's
see that.
possible.
I can
But
see
then
that.
sometimes we don't always. And I know, like when a family is grieving, like we can't say that fans don't grieve because they do.
Right.
But sometimes
Mhm.
it's easier to accept the impossible than what it is. That sometimes shit just fucking happens. So is
Happen.
it easier
Right.
to be like, oh, it's because of this and da 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 versus God said it's your time. And I'm not,
Girl, that's profound. Girl, that's profound. I love it. Yeah, that was good. That was a very good point. I feel like sometimes we have the desire to want to explain the stuff that just is not making sense. We want an answer. We want an explanation for why the heck things happen when exactly what you just said.
sometimes there's no,
Sometimes it
it
just
just
happens, right?
is.
I agree. That was deep.
And it gives, I had a friend
I think
who,
it was deep.
I had a friend, I'm calling her a friend, but sometimes I think back and I'm like, were you really a friend? I don't think so. But anyway, I had a friend who had this thing happen, and she was so hyper focused on the why of it, the why. I'm like, hun, like you're focused on the why, but why don't you focus on the is, so you can get these treatments that you need that would like life saving treatments. Like, why
Mhm.
are you? This is you're drilling down, and I'm not saying anything is wrong about her thought process, but I just remember looking at it like, why are you focused on this? Like, ma'am, you have you have options. You can go get the best healthcare that you possibly can, more than a lot of people, but you're hyper fixating on this. The why is not gonna make this go away. The why is just gonna bring more turmoil versus you going and getting the healthcare that you need. And like, yeah, I think back and I'm like, I don't really know if you were my friend. For a couple of reasons. Don't We're not gonna dive into it here.
Mm, mhm.
Um, But I think when it's like an artist maybe that we particularly love and that's endeared, maybe it's easier to kind of focus on the wrong things when it comes to yo, this shit like um
Maybe it's a form of not having to deal with the
mhm,
reality. It's a form of anything but what is really happening or what really did happen,
absolutely. And you know, I've
you know?
what I just said may have come across a little bit judgmental, but the fact of the matter is I have been there. Like I've had things happen that I sit there and be like, well, you know, why is this happening? And I recently wrote something about that. And I was so focused on, well, why is this happening? Like I'm a good person. I try to do all these things. And why am I being punished? What am I being punished for? And
Right.
at some point through lots of therapy, it was like, girl, shit just happens. And you know what I mean? It was kind of like that. But like I hope that didn't come across judgmental because it's really not my that's not my intention. But like I can see how someone could look at an endeared artist like this and just want to focus on negatives versus
Mhm.
this like not incorrect negatives, if that makes sense. Am I making sense? I don't know if I'm, but you know, like you're focusing on the wrong thing. She passed away. Her family is grieving. Her friends are grieving. Mm,
So misplaced feelings?
yeah,
Misplaced feelings.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
got you. I got you. I can
Um,
see that.
and it's unfortunate for her family because
Yeah.
now they have to. What did you say? Something about the fake those accounts. The
Girl, it's
yeah.
sad. No, it's not even sad. It's not sad. It's absolutely
Mhm.
disgusting. That's what it is. Because there were even people, not just, um, don't quote me on this, because I don't know if it was this situation specifically, but I know for a fact there was another situation that happened, and I thought maybe we could discuss that one day too on one of our lives about the rapper and his daughter that got
Mm.
unalived at a car wash, right? But the real disgusting thing was is there was people that wasn't even related to them, didn't even know them, and they were setting up GoFundMe accounts and capitalizing off of this horrible tragedy. Like, what is wrong
Yeah,
with
and did you
people?
see there was, if I remember right, there was one for them too, right? But no one knew if it was like her actual family.
I
Okay.
think so. I want to say I want to say yes, but
Okay. Go.
don't quote me on that. Allegedly, I don't want to, give out misinformation. If anybody is on the live that has joined us and does know, go ahead and drop it in the comments. But yeah, like for someone to do that, to try to capitalize off of a situation that is hurtful and so tragic, like I'm not trying to minimize
Mm-hmm.
death by any means. Anybody that lost somebody, a loss is a loss. You still go through that same pattern of feelings, no matter whether it's unexpected or
Mm-hmm.
expected, right? But it is a little different when it's
Mm-hmm.
unexpected. In my opinion, right? It's like having experienced both,
Mm-hmm.
I can say, it's different when okay, um, my parent is sick, they're not doing well. Um, it's sad, right? But when it's so unexpected, like out of nowhere, be like, wow, I just
Mm-hmm.
talked to that person yesterday.
Yeah.
I have plans with that person for next week. It's just I feel like it hits different. It really me personally, what it did for me was I don't want to say it, I don't know if humble is the word I'm looking for, but it did definitely made me do some
Mm-hmm.
reflecting because it was so
Yeah.
sudden, right? Like, dang, and I believe I did a post about that because I was like, you know, you don't know when your time is up. You don't know when the other person's time
Hmm.
is up. So whatever is important, go ahead and address it because tomorrow is not promised. Hell, the very next minute is not
Yep.
promised. I lost my foster mother. Like, she was in the car
Hmm.
headed to go get something to eat.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to take a moment to hey, Moss. Do you remember Moss? Hey, man, we see you over on the TikTok, our friend from Ghana, who encouraged us to come on home back to Africa. He just joined
Hey,
us from on TikTok. Thank you so much. If anyone is joining us, whether you're on TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube, feel free to drop in the comments where you're from and what are your thoughts about the legendary Angie Stone. Do you have that favorite song? And what are your thoughts on the conspiracy theories that are happening now after her recent allegations?
and if you feel like they're
Hmm.
valid, or if you feel like, why does this happen? Why is everybody so fixated on all of these conspiracy theories and the possibilities and the F or Y, um, instead of just really take a moment to honor her, respect her
Yeah,
and her family and her
yeah,
family and her friends that are still here, that are really suffering through this.
absolutely. And you know what would be a great way to honor her is to go ahead and put yourself an Angie Stone playlist together, like
Girl,
today.
done, done, already,
What better
girl.
way?
I understand the assignment. Okay, I
Yes.
got it. Done.
Here's the assignment, everybody. Get your Angie Stone playlist, and then I bet you there's gonna be songs on there that you just didn't know and you're gonna feel
Yeah,
nice and nostalgic because that's how I felt. I was
yeah,
like, oh, this is 1999. What? I think I was in college, maybe.
yeah. Girl, I don't know where I was at. Definitely not.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh no, I
maybe.
wasn't in college.
Oh,
Girl,
yeah.
I was gainfully employed with my
Let me
first
think.
apartment. I believe so. I'm like 99. No.
99. Yep. Oh, yeah. I know what I was
Mm-hmm.
doing. I know who I was doing too.
Thank you, everyone who's joining us. Drop a comment. Where are you guys joining us from? We are here for our usual Sunday live, and I know that today is a day of. It's a different day because we had to spring forward on our clocks and all that stuff. So I think that everyone might be a little bit discombobulated because I know I was this morning. I
Um,
was like,
I'm
I don't know
exhausted.
what time is it. Wait, what?
Yeah, I couldn't understand why the hell I was up. I was like, why am I up now? Like, this is weird. Like, why? And then when you said earlier, when we recorded for the other show, and you was like, oh yeah, the time. Oh, that explains it. That's why I
Hmm.
feel like, why are we still doing this? I thought they was
I
gonna put
think
an
the
end to this
farmer.
shit. When are they
I
gonna
mean,
put
they
an end to
started
this
because of the
shit?
farmers. Hey, listen, the farmers they needed some extra
Well,
time. I don't know. I just know it has something to do with the farmers, and that's why we now.
I was gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone,
I mean,
girl.
no, that's a bit of a history thing. No, no, no shade intended, but I do believe it was implemented because of farmers in the farming community. That was which is very integral, whatever, important, very important.
Mm.
The ones who are still remaining because farming is not as prominent as it used to be when this law was created. But whatever, like you said, thank you, farmers. We
Girl,
appreciate you.
the way the way things are, I feel like my little piece of patch back there, backyard. I wish I could farm some shit back there, like at least some chickens, um, and some chickens. What is it? Chicken, what,
Mm-hmm.
roosters or hens or
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Right, right, yeah. Some of that going,
Just don't
whatever
be
you
like
call
my
it.
neighbor.
That's, girl, I
Just
already
don't
done
be like
told
my
you.
neighbor.
They're lucky. They're lucky I'm not you. They're lucky that I'm not living next to them. Cause I swear to God, the way shit is nowadays, I be like, you better keep your chicken close, ho. Keep your chicken close. Cause I'm gonna pluck some damn feathers. That's how shit is
Yeah.
now. Like,
Yeah. That's just my PSA. Keep your chickens in check. Don't have them all over the place because people like myself may not be too happy. And you might find a chicken missing. Because we got coyotes. We
girl,
do have coyotes in these parts.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, y'all do
yeah.
have coyotes? Oh, that's a little different. Yeah, I'm not getting into it with no coyote for chicken, but
Mm.
I mean, push come to shove, I might. I don't know. It's
six
crazy.
dollars
It's
for
just
a
crazy
dozen.
how.
Don't try an
Okay,
organic egg. I mean,
girl,
okay.
who that was I told her? Yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah,
we're going way off
sorry.
topic. I'm sorry. It's me going down a rabbit hole. I
Um,
apologize. Um, but with the
mhm,
utmost respect, and I mean this totally like with everything, like sincerely, like my condolences, our condolences to her family and her close friends. I've seen her son have talk a little bit. I haven't watched them fully, so I don't want to go into it. But yeah, I definitely it's a tragic situation. It was so unexpected, and my heart goes out
the question
to
that
them.
kind of runs through my brain as we're sitting here talking about this is, do you think in our culture, and I mean like the American culture, that it's way easier for us to believe in a conspiracy? I don't mean like not as the individual, but as a whole. We tend to have a lot of
Mm.
conspiracy theories when it comes to events that we can't necessarily explain or things that are hard to explain or hard to understand. We see it like it's a repeated thing, and I don't know if it's from
Mm.
like, is it social media that has suddenly created this thing? Is it the AI bots that are kind of creating this thing? Because we know that's a thing, and one recently got found out over on that X platform.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's a thing here. I don't know if it's similar on other countries. Hey Moss, if you're still
Mm.
here, like, could you comment? Like, is that a thing where you are? Like, or is it just something that's unique to American culture?
Um, when you were talking, I thought about what it was that you were saying, and I thought to myself, I said, it's not. I don't think it's a social media or internet type thing. When you look back over the years, there was always stories told to explain why or why not.
Hmm.
Always, always since I can remember, right? So, maybe that's where some of it stems from, is that there's always not really a story, but it's something deeper behind the story. Does that make sense? Like, girl, how can I say it? Like, I remember being told stories growing up that related to life and why things happen or how things happen or what you should do or what you shouldn't do or why this isn't good, why it is good. And maybe it's that same type of concept. Like, it has to be a story to this. It has to be exactly like you said earlier, a why, a reasoning. It has to be a bigger picture. It can't just be this, because it just being this means there's no bigger picture.
Mm.
Does that make any
Like
sense?
it. Ooh. Girl, I hope you don't hear.
right?
Did you hear any of that? Good.
I
Okay,
didn't hear
okay.
anything.
That's true because maybe when something shakes our foundational beliefs, that can kind of, well, we have to explain it. Now, I'm not going to say that things don't always add up, and I'm not going to say that the math doesn't always math when it comes to certain things. Hey,
True.
hang on, make it quick, and don't come on this side. What you got? Okay, you just want to give me a kiss. um,
Okay.
I'm not saying that
Okay.
sometimes things don't add up. Like I remember seeing a documentary recently that I was like, how did this happen so quickly in the age of without social media? And it was a documentary about, and I don't want to say it here because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I watched the documentary and I was like, how did they find this guy so fast in an age when social media didn't exist? Yet they found the culprit like this within hours of something, a major event in our history. They found him like this. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Y'all are really on your game, huh?
I'm gonna tell you what it
That
was.
might
You
have
want
been
to
for
know the
real
truth?
though.
What I think it is? And girl, listen. Um, and we're already talking about conspiracy theories, but we already know most of the time they have technology way before we
Girl,
do.
this is the
They have
60s.
avenues. They have avenues way before we do. They knew about these cell phones. Even when we had cell phones and they was brick, they already had probably some of what we had. This what we have today is probably old as hell technology.
It came from the alien ships.
Right or wrong, girl.
Don't.
They stole they stole that from them honky pucks flying through the air. Hold on.
Listen, that was comment was in reference to an episode that we recorded earlier today about strange but true events. So you guys, it'll be available in a couple weeks. So just listen, strange but true stories, and at least our stories were legit. But that's where that reference is from. The hockey pucks.
Girl. The hockey pucks.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Um,
They know what those hockey pucks, they know what those they say unidentified, but they know what the hell it is. They
right.
just not telling us
It's
what
like
the
that
hell it
movie
is.
Alien. Do you remember some? Have you ever went back and watched the very first Alien? There were things in that movie that I was like, when I look back to it, I was like, oh, that exists now. Oh, that exists now. Oh yeah, yeah, it was the night vision. I was like, they were talking
If
about night vision back in 80 something. Oh crap.
that's because they already had
Like,
that's my point. Because they already had it. They just ain't let us know about it.
and we can't be
Right?
in our community, we can't, we would be remiss to not note that sometimes there have been conspiracies when it came to prominent figures who they didn't want to become prominent.
Yeah.
So I think within our
Yes.
community,
Yes.
maybe if it's that's why it's easier within our community to think that there's something bigger going on when sometimes it just is. And we won't go down that rabbit hole because then we take it on a whole but really important key figures in our history were things happened, so maybe that's
Mhm.
where that's some of it stems from. But even when you take the black culture out of it, there's always conspiracy around so many different things. I'm like, why is it so much easier to believe the conspiracy than it is to believe like, hey man, here are the facts. You don't need to make up anything else than what this is. And it's just unfortunate that this happened so quickly that within a week of her passing, someone's, this is what happened.
Girl, I don't even think it was a week.
Less than, really.
I really don't. I promise you, I saw the rest in peace, Angie Stone. Because I be on
Hmm.
YouTube a lot, right? YouTube and TikTok, right? And so I was actually up. I can't remember why I was up. I was up once again struggling with my little sleep pattern things that I have going on. And I saw it and it was like 2 hours ago or an hour ago or 3 hours ago. I was like, oh my gosh. And then so I started clicking on them. And it was shortly after that. I want to say later that day when I got home and I was like, okay, let me check this out. Let me find out what's going on. It was
Like
already
that.
that quick. I'm like, God dang. I was like, people were already posting stuff that she had posted on her media and already running with it.
Yes.
Running.
And one thing, like, here's something that I actually saw in happening like in real time. Like I was working on a business transaction, a business deal with somebody, and I can't give all the details because NDA, CD, all that crap. But I was working on a business deal, and it was easier for this one client to feel like everyone was against him. Like he somehow went into this conspiracy mode of the attorney's doing him dirty, the so and so's trying to do him dirty. I was like, you think this attorney's gonna really risk his whole attorney career for you?
You ain't that important.
This deal is not that much money. I'm not being mean, but if someone's gonna risk their law license, it wouldn't be here.
Hmm.
Like I could see it happening in real time, and it was there were people who were trying to be helpful that actually just made it worse. And I'm like, and that just kind of made the conspiracy. Like, you think that a lawyer's not gonna? Well, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen because there's plenty of lawyers that just got disbarred recently, got sued, lost their houses, lost a whole lot of money. But it was a lot more money than this deal here.
You really did make a good point. Um, when you was like, sometimes people are really trying to be helpful, but they're really just making it
Yeah.
worse. And that could definitely be the answer right there. I think you have solved the question
Mm.
just in that statement, what we've been asking the whole time, like, why? Maybe that's exactly what it is. Maybe a lot of people think they are being helpful to her story, to her legacy. Maybe they feel like they are
Ooh,
helping, but in actuality, y'all are not helping. Y'all are making things worse. And maybe that's exactly what the answer is. Maybe that's how we get to these theories. And I gotta share this story, or I gotta say this, or I gotta say that. Maybe
yeah,
that's exactly what it is. Maybe that's it. They feel that they're helping,
that's a
but they're
great
not.
point. I don't know, you guys. What do you think? So, if you guys are joining us on TikTok, remember that this full episode will be on our Ouse Now podcast page, and that is at Ouse Now Podcast. So, the stream will be there um, shortly. I gotta make it public after we record. So, make sure that you're looking at Ouse Now Podcast for on the tube. That's where the full recording will remain indefinitely, and it will be on Facebook. I think for 30 days is what their new. Excuse me. It stays on our Facebook page for about 30 days after. So we don't typically post the lives on the talk because we've got way too many talks to kind of maintain. So the Out Now podcast is really more centralized on YouTube. What can we say? Because that's where things kind of stay and we don't have to do a lot of extra uploading and stuff like that. So catch this full live on at Ouse Now Podcast on YouTube. And then, of course, on Facebook for the next 30 days, it will be there. We want you to comment. What are your thoughts? What do you think about the conspiracy? And what did you love about Angie Stone, her music? What was that favorite song? Comment. We want to hear about it because she's a phenomenal singer.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Very. You're very powerful too.
And here's your homework. What's the
Um,
homework? You got some homework when it comes to Angie Stone. This will help her legacy even more than sitting here talking about conspiracy theories.
the conspiracies,
Yes.
right? Go ahead and do
Mm-hmm.
that playlist. Go listen to go listen to that voice.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. I think that, you know, and when this is released on, you
Yeah,
said
it'll. You just
YouTube,
have to make it
right?
public later.
When it's up, when it's when it's made public on YouTube, definitely put in the comments those songs that you remember, those songs that take you back. Um, if you can remember where you was in life, right? Because remember, I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
even.
Mm-hmm.
What was I doing? Oh yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, put that, drop that in there because it's
Yes,
history.
I think her song, that
It's history.
song, I wish was a regular song on Quiet Storm. So if y'all don't
Yep,
know what Quiet Storm is, boy, you have missed out. However,
girl.
if you grew up and we grew up, and the time we grew up, this was before everyone had access to computers and laptops and fancy phones that did all kinds of crap.
Hmm.
There was a thing called Quiet Storm, and her
Hmm.
music was frequently played. And I remember
Yes,
listening and hearing her songs on The Quiet Storm.
yes,
So do yourself a
absolutely,
favor.
girl. Do you remember? Girl, you took me so way back when you said that because remember that voice that used to come on.
Quiet
Remember,
Storm.
girl,
All right, they're gonna start running away in droves. I
girl.
can't sing, you guys. Sorry.
And then the what was it? The I don't know if the Quiet Storm was the same way where you were at, but like where I was at with the Quiet Storm, like they would even do the little thunder and rain
Yes, yeah.
sounds. Did they do
Yes,
that? Girl,
yes. And
yes.
Quiet Storm was the
Girl.
shit. Okay.
And to this day, look, to this day, I still associate rain and thunder with like, yes, it's that
Yes.
weather.
Ousters, do yourself a
Yes.
favor. One, look up Quiet Storm. Find that song. Two, do yourself this favor and take some time. Get
Yeah.
yourself a Angie Stone Essentials playlist if you are on the Apple, wherever you listen. Listen to her music in her voice. That
Mhm.
was beautiful. Um, and
Yeah.
let's thank her because when it comes to music, there's a song for every part and point in your life. And that's kind of how
Mm.
I see music. There is a song for that.
Yeah.
And I bet you there's a multitude of songs in her music that would fit an experience that you could be having right now. So get yourself a playlist of her music. Do it today. That will help her legacy more than anything over these conspiracy theories. Let's celebrate her by listening to her
Right.
music. Mm-hmm.
That would be
Yes.
real help.
Real deal. Thank you, Ousters. We really appreciate you joining us on a Sunday, no less. We know we gotta work tomorrow. Kids gotta be at school, so we appreciate this
Yeah.
time. But if you can't catch us now, catch it on that YouTube at Oust Now Podcast. And thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Not just a Sunday, but a Sunday with a whole hour time change. Girl, like this.
I need a nap.
Yeah, I'm saying. Um, so, so as always, thank you, thank you, thank you. Outstanding Podcast. Look, get us on the way up because we up. We gonna
That's
go
right.
up more. That's what that is. Keep
There
rising
it
to the
is.
occasion. Thank y'all. We love each and every one of y'all. Appreciate y'all.